She walked in there like she owned the place. She was being polite in asking, but I don't think if they said no, I think she was definitely still going to go. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. She was breaking down them double doors no matter what. Yeah. What we get out of this scene is that Hayward is a filthy liar.
Welcome to the Is This Entertainment Pod?
This Entertainment Podcast.
Where we are stuck in a time
We did
loop. It's a cross between The Matrix and Groundhog Day. Please make sure you're following and subscribing, where every episode is the same.
That's right. But it's not, talking about different episodes of the same show.
Yeah, they're different enough.
Yeah, definitely.
So, just a quick announcement. Heads up at the beginning.
Announcements.
We were a guest on another podcast. I'm not going to say what it is. You need to follow us at Is This Ent Pod on Twitter to get the update, and we'll tweet it out as soon as the episode is available. We were interviewed about our musical
endeavors. We just had a really nice conversation about music.
It was a great conversation, and we talked about the podcast a little bit and some other tidbits of albums you should listen to. Some good tidbits of information.
Of music today.
The state of things. Yeah.
Yeah, it was nice. Those are some good people. You have a fun podcast, and check out
Is This Ent Pod on Twitter. Make sure you follow us on social, and we'll get that out as soon as it drops. Okay.
Once it drops, just waiting for that drop. Hey, man, how's your week?
That's a great question.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
It got somber.
Hey, man, how's your week? Oh, no.
I've just been reminiscing about family, the good old time, what life was like before all this stuff.
Right, back when we could all hug.
Yeah, I miss getting hugs, giving hugs. Yeah. Like, that sounds completely inappropriate.
Yeah. Jacob, I miss hugging the children.
Oh, why am I the only one on the screen?
Kidding.
God damn
it. What? Oh, I don't know.
Oh, let's start over.
Nah, we don't need to do that. It's fine.
Okay. Fine. We'll just, what a cut this will be. Yeah. Here's Ben's face. Yeah. You gotta say something. That? Yeah, so we were both on.
Look, man, here's the thing. I can see my face and your face because of the Zooms. So it doesn't really equate in my mind that I'm not on the quote unquote screen.
Right. Yeah. Another thing about Zoom, it's so low quality. It's like the highest quality video is like 500 and something pixels. Like, it's not even 720. Like, it's just meh. Yeah. Oh Lord. Oh well, that was a rough start this week. Yeah. Just thinking about life pre the beer virus and leaving the country. Been thinking about that a lot. It's gonna be. There's some things
coming up.
Yeah. Looking forward though to some beaches. So just chilling. Less pressure. Hopefully at some point. And
dig it.
I've been watching some new shows. We could talk about that.
What have you been consuming this week?
The wife and I just started The White Queen, I think, or The White Princess. I don't know. It's one of those on Stars. Okay. And we're really kind of enjoying. The first.
You started like the very beginning.
Yeah.
So I believe that's The White Queen, and then I think it's The White Princess, and then I think it's the Spanish Princess. Right. I could be wrong. I did not watch them. No. I just know that. I did not watch any of them. I just know Rebecca Ferguson was on the first season, and she's in the Mission Impossible movies. Oh, she was also in Dr. Sleep, which was awesome. She was great in Dr. Sleep.
Is that who that is? That's Rebecca Ferguson? Okay. I gotcha.
Rebecca Ferguson, yeah.
Yeah. My wife and I were talking about how we appreciate the way Stars does storytelling. Like, they tell the story instead of like try to stretch it out like 7 seasons or whatever. This is what happened. This is the thing. Let's get it over with. Let's go to the next thing.
Yeah, I feel the way shows are constructed now to where they don't have to be 22 episodes of network television, you really cut to the chase a lot more than in shows that really have to slow play it to try to get to that grand season finale situation. I felt like there was always a couple of filler episodes in 24 because they were trying to do 24 episodes. And not everything can be just crazy town in every single hour. Dropping it down to like 8 episodes is pretty great, I think, for storytelling in general.
Right. Yes. Just beginning, middle, and end, like a story.
Yeah. Just get into it. Tell the story. And if you run out of time, you run out of time. Game of Thrones was like that. They would just be like, all right, this season's only 6 episodes. That's what we got.
And they spent money on it. They didn't. It doesn't seem cheap. the production of any of these shows. It's like they just went balls to the wall, like regardless of how much money Starz is making, which is impressive. Like today, like people are always talking about budgets and streaming and, oh, we can't afford this. But no, they've got to be making some money there on the back end, you know?
Oh, definitely. There was an interview with Kevin Feige this week, where he said that the Disney Plus shows, they're aiming for like 6 total hours of content. Like he was like, that's pretty much the sweet spot. So for WandaVision, it's 9 episodes that are all like 40 something minutes or 30 plus. And then Falcon and Winter Soldier is going to be 6 episodes of like roughly an hour. So I just thought that was interesting. That it was like, we're aiming for 6, but how we get there is going to be different per show. Right. But just like from a storytelling standpoint, them kind of diagramming, that's what our goal is. That's where we think we get the most bang for our buck.
Yeah, like what serves the story and the budget at the same time. Yeah. If you're running a studio, that makes total sense. And they don't have to,
100%.
They don't have to be 28 minutes exactly every episode or whatever. No, they can fluctuate.
Definitely. Although I tell you what, man, those Mandalorian episodes, if they were all about 45, 50 minutes, that I feel like that's the sweet spot. It's when they come in at 32 that I'm like, come on. Give us a little bit more than that.
Speaking of which, new podcast listeners, we have quite a few of you. So just make sure that you are subscribed, and please feel free to go back and listen to some of those old Mandalorian review episodes. We've got them up. They exist in the library. So I just wanted to thank you for subscribing and for listening. Our views have just, I don't know what is happening. I don't know if it's a bot or if it's real life, but
if it's a bot, hey, appreciate you for making our week interesting. But
all right, so are you ready to dive into this?
Yeah, man, let's do it. WandaVision, previously on, name of the episode. So this whole episode pretty much just lives in flashbacks and getting answers to things, which last episode we talked about, you were like, I'm ready for some answers. Boy, did we get some. We got some big
quite a few
this week.
Yeah.
Quite a few answers this week.
As telegraphed, Agnes/Agatha is some sort of witch. And we've learned about this now.
Full-blown Salem witch.
She's been around for a while. Salem was a while ago. That was, yeah. And this trial of her here is different than the witch trials that we've read about or whatever, where it's the people putting the witch on the stake. This time, it's her own coven for breaking, I guess, the magic rules, if you will, or the code. What is it? What happened here?
See, I feel like it was she didn't know, like, the full extent of her power. And also,
she leveled up too fast.
Yeah, and they wanted to control that. Or they just were ready to put her down, I guess, when she was like, no, somebody teach me how to do this stuff. So it seems like she wasn't like a full-fledged member of the group here. It was like she had some natural ability that leveled her up, and everybody else was just too scared of that and should have just been like, hey, let's teach you how to properly use this.
Like, secret societies in real life, they have like degrees or things that you graduate. So like you have to learn one thing first, then a next thing, then a next thing. And I think she skipped a few steps is what happened. And she didn't know that she was skipping steps maybe, but she went a little too far. She read the chapter at the end maybe, or on accident. And she's being punished for it.
I'll need to watch the scene again because I didn't really get like a Doctor Strange vibe where it was just like, she was like super ahead and I didn't get the vibe that she was just like skipping ahead in the reading and like going on to the next chapter when she wasn't supposed to. I got the sense that it was just like she just had some natural abilities that almost in like a Ben Solo kind of way of just this dude's too powerful to let go.
I might have to edit this out because I for sure I got the skipping ahead vibe.
If one of us is wrong, that's not a big deal.
One of us is right. So
I watched this episode 2 days ago. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah. Like I definitely got the skipping ahead vibe because
either way, the other witches / her mom did not want that, and they screwed up. Yeah, they thought they could take her down. She was too powerful.
What's funny here is if they just would have went the old-fashioned way and just burnt her at the stake, everything would have been fine.
I feel like she might have been too powerful for that one.
Because the blue Kool-Aid magic sauce did not stick, and she just she reversed it, and what's weird is that they kind of held on these shots a little long for me. Like I thought, oh, for sure she would be dead because you drink that much blue Kool-Aid and you're done. But no. The interesting thing, the thought-provoking thing about that, I don't say interesting anymore. I say thought-provoking. It makes you sound more sophisticated.
Yes.
The thought-provoking thing about this.
Let me get my monocle out.
Yeah, and which... Oh, speaking of monocles and Mandela effects, there's a new one. The new one is...
Oh.
Yeah, this one will mess you up. What did God write the Ten Commandments on?
God didn't write the Ten Commandments. Moses wrote the Ten Commandments.
What was it on? Like, what was it written on?
It was, the 2 tablets or whatever. The stone tablets.
Yeah, two stone tablets. Yeah, if you look it up now, it is the 2 stone tables.
Oh, I felt like in Catholic school those were like interchangeable. I remember seeing tables.
You remember seeing tables? Okay.
Like I just think, or not like a coffee table.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think that's semantics. That's just the words. That's just words changing over time. I don't think table meant.
Yeah,
what
but
it means now.
It was tablets, though.
We're also talking about, the other thing is we're all being influenced by the Charlton Heston movie.
But the idea that it was
We're talking about the Bible being, but like we're talking about words being translated 4 and 5 times before it gets to English.
Yeah, and I also misspoke when I said Chick-fil-A backwards. Like I said it that the K was the old one, but it's the current one. So you must have remembered the C, Chick-fil-A with no K.
Oh, you're saying that Chick-fil-A didn't have a C?
No, it didn't have a K. Yeah. Do you remember that?
Didn't have a K. Honestly, I didn't pay attention to Chick-fil-A until like college because it used to only be like on campuses and in food courts, and it wasn't in any of the food courts of the malls I went to. So it wasn't until I was like 18. Yeah, that I don't have any like long drawn out connection to Chick-fil-A.
So so there are only just a few of these things that like stick with you, like the monocle for the Monopoly guy.
Yeah, like that seems like a thing. Obviously the Berenstain Bears is the one that got all of us. And then I felt I don't know if I ever thought Nelson Mandela was dead until he was dead.
Yeah, I remember there being other
for a long time.
I remember there being like another news story about him and maybe that he was dead, but I couldn't remember the specifics of it.
Yeah.
But it was weird that the news came out again. You know, that was all strange. That it was just jumbled.
The actor Hal Holbrook, he died recently. Great actor, and I kept thinking he died in real life when in actuality it was just I saw him like he died on a couple of TV shows. I think he died in ER.
Right.
And I think he like died on the West Wing.
Like
so I was like, so every couple of years I'd be like, I just Google Hal Holbrook still alive? But yeah,
it's
and
weird.
Now he is officially dead.
It's weird how fallible our memories are, but then when it comes to certain things, like we're all pretty sure that it was Berenstain Bears, or a lot of us are. You know, like it's not. So like I think
was there a cartoon? Was there a Berenstain Bears cartoon?
I'm sure there was, but to relate it to WandaVision, you know, like I'm sure reality is more malleable than we think it is. You know what I mean? I'm pretty convinced of that. The lion should lay with the lamb used to be the verse in the Bible, as far as I remember. And now it doesn't exist, and like no references to lions in the Bible anymore. And it's the wolf should lay with the lamb. Stuff's weird, man. Stuff is just weird. There's all those pictures like the Lion of Judah and all that kind of stuff. Like it's not even in there. And I'll probably cut all this Mandela effect stuff out, but it's just
leave
like
it in. Why not?
Reality may be a little more fluid than we thought it was. Speaking of which,
so here's what I find fun about this scene. It looks like she's got a bit of a crown situation on her head with her blue magic. So that was immediately like a red flag for me. Like, ooh, okay, so we've got blue magic going on. We've got purple magic. Wanda's got her red magic. That crown looks very similar to Wanda's crown. Like similar, but not the same. Yeah, so what's the difference here? Which I think at the end of the episode, we start to like really get into, or at least get a glimpse of. Yeah, so that was like when that blue hazy stuff formed that little crown on Agatha's mom's head. Got them gears turning in my head.
Yeah, the fact that she was able to just, okay, one, her mom is going to kill her. That's crazy. And then two, she's going to kill her mom. That's also not like, That's a lot of, I would have to say Agatha's been through a lot of trauma here as well, not just Wanda.
Oh yeah, big time. She's a very complicated character, which I dig. Because when we get into the basement and we have the scene with Wanda, she's very much like probing Wanda to figure out how she knows this magic stuff. Because and she's really just like laying down like a magic lesson of all the stuff that she's able to do. She's had all this time at the beginning when she's pleading with her mom of teach me how to do this for realsies. And then now she's taken all this time, centuries to learn all of this. Yeah. And then, to hone her craft. And then here comes Wanda and she's able to like exponentially do stuff that Agatha can't do with all the time and self-teaching that she's done. Yeah, it's interesting. Like, again, just like really complicated character for Agatha to where it's not so much that she's manipulating Wanda for any like huge personal gain other than just the knowledge of how she's able to do the stuff she's able to do. Like all that stuff with Pietro and him being her eyes and ears, all those questions he was asking was like, so how'd you do this? How'd you get into this? Whereas the end of the last episode was really setting us up for, okay, is Agatha the big bad? And I think the answer after this episode is no. She's just a complicated character who's in the mix.
Yeah, she's obviously intrigued by Wanda and looking for more answers of how she's doing this magic. Like, we know magic's been approached in Marvel for a while, and they've always taken the approach, it's just science that we don't understand. But at this point, it's going more traditional dark arts magic. And we're seeing that with the idols and the symbols and the things in her basement here, and just the way that she's teaching spells and showing Wanda what's up and how things work. We are taking a more traditional approach, it seems. So that, to me, is very interesting.
Yeah. And where we see with Wanda's point of view, with all of the things that have gone on in her life and kind of the, what do you call it? Not spontaneity, but almost happenstance kind of stuff. And Agatha's really explaining it as, oh, you just did magic without knowing it. Like you had this.
Yeah, we find out here shortly. Agatha takes her back in time to what do they call this? It's a form of therapy, essentially, going back and figuring out your trauma, essentially. And she takes her through the door, and they go back to here.
They go back to Sokovia when they were children.
Yeah, and it turns out that Wanda has been using magic all along, and it was not from the Mind Stone. Or that is the
that's it. Yeah. That she has some inherent abilities that once she does get down with the Mind Stone blows up. Unlocks, yes. Which similar to what Monica's going through with, I think there's something that going through the hex has unlocked for her. I'm seeing those two things similarly, as opposed to it just being 100% the hex.
And what this also represents, I think, is the arrival of mutants in the Marvel universe. They're now saying, okay, Wanda's actually a mutant. That is why she had magic just from the start. Like, she's already unlocked that gene or whatever. And now we'll start seeing a lot more X-Men type of content in Marvel. Right? They have
definitely opens the door. Yeah. Yeah. That also in that Sokovia scene, we get her dad trying to sell the DVDs while he's out for the day. And then that's where we see Bewitched, Dick Van Dyke Show, Malcolm in the Middle, all the shows that we've been filtering this Wanda's vision through. We get to see all of that and see where the seeds were placed inside Wanda for that being her happy place to go to when everything hits the fan.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting that Malcolm in the Middle was even in that DVD case, because it shouldn't have been based on the timeline, because that show started in 2000 through 2006. So like maybe in her mind she stuck it in there like after the fact, like because if she's going into,
I don't know if it was like the first season, if it was 2000, and
because they were talking about era, right? Which is more 80s.
No, I think it was. No, I think it was further down the road.
Okay, so early 2000s then. Okay, yeah, I thought that was
so.
Yeah, and I didn't realize that show was so early. I thought it came out like later, but it's 2000 to 2006.
Yeah, if she's 9 in 2000, and then Ultron happens in 2012-ish, so that puts her at 21, 22, something like that. I think that kind of works. Or it works enough for me to not just discard it. Yeah,
and I guess so. It just seems a little out of the timeline. You know, maybe it was there. Maybe it was there.
Maybe they could have picked like a Nickelodeon show, like a Salute Your Shorts would have been a nice.
Yeah. What was this?
Hey Dude.
What was the show Alanis Morissette was on? You can't do that on television.
Oh yeah, you can't do that on television. That was certainly more 80s.
Yeah, that's when I watched Nickelodeon. It was you can't do that on television and Double Dare. Those were my
Double Dare.
Yeah, those are my Nickelodeon days. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. At any rate, we go back to the scene once again, where they're doing the experiments on her with the the Loki staff, and the Mind Stone just pops out of the staff, which is nuts.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to show them like trying to hook her up or do something, but.
Yeah, I thought there was going to be some sort of synthesizing, like plugging the staff into a box and then things getting plugged into her or something like that.
Yeah, with a giant switch and some meters. Yeah, some old-timey meters. Yeah.
Instead, like, the grand plan was like, I don't know, let's just put them in a room with the thing and see what happens.
Hope they don't die. Yeah.
How is that? It's not like other people haven't ever been in the room with that staff before. That was crazy. Could have used a little bit more there.
Yeah, for sure. But we did get this vision here.
But then, we get this vision of like full-blown Scarlet Witch costume in like the vision of the Mind Stone. When these guys look back at the video, they don't see any of this.
It's just blank. It got
erased.
So is
this all happening in her mind?
There's a very good possibility of that. I think it's like in a kind of out-of-body spiritual experience type thing. Yeah, I drank a lot of coffee today, but this is my fourth cup. I'm really feeling the need to urinate again.
Okay, yeah, go for it. Okay.
But speaking of coffee, I did put a link to the coffee in the last episode. I'll put it back down in this one too, so you can get some good Hawaiian pod coffee. I know, I can sell that coffee by mentioning urination right next to it.
Yep, that's probably the route.
Really a genius sell. Yeah. But seriously though, it's made in America. So there's not a lot of coffee made in America, especially that comes in pods. If you get pod coffee, chances are it's from somewhere else. Check this out. It's good stuff. There should be a link in the episode description and a link to the description in the description, if that makes any sense. Probably doesn't. So enough with the commercials. I'm going to go. I'll be right back.
Sweet. Cool. I got a thing to talk about. So you guys seen this movie Hereditary? Man, this movie I was expecting it to like really kind of mess me up. And it's not that I guess I am talking about it. So yeah, I guess it did. It wasn't, but it was like singular moments. There's 3 moments in the movie that really messed me up. And everything else is just kind of there. It's not a movie that I ever want to watch again. I don't feel the need for that. And I'm not like a horror movie kind of guy. That's not my jam. I will watch them, but it's not like I want to rewatch them, if that makes sense. So over the summer, we watched Hereditary. I was like, that's cool. Don't ever need to see that again. There's a couple of moments in that I could never think about again, and I would be perfectly fine. Recently, the Showtime channel, and its, plethora of sub-channels, Showtime 2, Showtime X, Showtime whatever, they've been playing Hereditary on and off throughout the past 2 weeks. So my remote channel surfing style is very old school. I just hit up and keep going until I find a thing that I want to watch. And it's a little dangerous when Hereditary is on, because I'm just hitting that up button and then it's boom, Hereditary. And it might be one of those 3 moments in the movie that I don't ever want to see again or even really think about. And I've been pretty lucky. But now that the movie is on and I know that it's on a good amount, like it's heavy in the rotation on Showtime right now, like it's dangerous to just click that channel up button. So I've had to completely change my style to hit the guide when I get around the Showtime area to see if it's on, so that I don't accidentally click on it or deliberately click on it, not knowing what it is, and then, see this awful scene in the movie that I don't want to see. So it's really changed my behavior and made me have to like take that extra step to hit the guide, be like, okay, Hereditary is on. I need to avoid channel 1852 for those of you who have Uverse. And then 3 hours later, I'm going to have to pay attention and skip 1853 when it hits Showtime West, because I just don't need that in my life. And yet, because I'm seeing it, I'm thinking about it just as much as if I'm watching it. Showtime, do me a favor. Just take Hereditary off, on demand only. Nobody should just happen upon Hereditary and be like, you know what? Let me just watch the last 20 minutes. No, thank you. No, thank you. Jacob, back to you.
Yeah, so more post-pandemic depression with Ben and Jacob.
Dude, have you seen Hereditary? Don't. Unless you want to watch some stuff that's just messed up and want to be creeped out. You want to be creeped out? Watch Hereditary.
It's completely inappropriate.
Pass.
Just the bowels of society type of film.
No, it's way more intimate. It explores grief and it's just all kinds of
dark, heavy.
Yeah. It's just heavy. It's complicated, and then the last 15 minutes is just Looney Tunes Crazy Town. Yeah, it's the last 15 minutes are intense. It's very intense. But it's really it's only a movie with 6 characters, and it just hones in on those 6 characters. And
it sounds like the perfect film for an art student or somebody that doesn't have a budget and they wanted to make a film. And they were like, "Hey, let's just write." It doesn't spend a whole lot of time on effects or anything like that. Don't get me wrong; it's a fully produced film and it had a budget, but it definitely is. We're gonna, it goes some places, and I don't need to go back there. Speaking of grief. But what is grief if not love persevering? That is Vision's quote, and it got me in the feels. Yes, this was a really good scene. Yeah, this whole episode has that therapy vibe. It is definitely, and every time they get a little bit closer, Agatha's, we're not there yet. We need to explore some more. We got to figure out, we haven't figured it out yet. It's definitely Agatha is Wanda's therapist kind of in this scenario, and is making her relive all this stuff. Very kind of Scientology in a way. Yeah, there's different modes of therapy that go back and do this, and there's also even, what is the word I'm looking for? Therapy. For people that actually practice magic, there is a thing. What do they call this? Where you go back and there's a word for it. What's this called? Why can't I think of it right now? I'll think of it in a second. There's a word for all this. Yeah. And then there's the actor training that we've both gone through, where you try to drudge up all the sad stuff in your life to get you to a place on a stage or in front of a camera to emotionally wreck yourself. That's fun. That's a thing that we did. Anyways, there's a whole practice behind going and looking at your past and healing that, and it's about walking a different path. I'm not super versed in it, obviously. I can't even find the name of it. But it's a thing, and part of it actually is from a witch type of therapy. So that they're actually using it in the episode is pretty wild. And from my point of view, this episode of having lost my mother and father, which I know I don't ever talk about on here, but when Vision said that, it was just, to me, the sweetest thing. Oh, okay, that's what grief is. It really hit me in the feels. It hit me in the feels, Ben. Yeah. It puts grief in this positive kind of light. You don't want to think about the loss as a sad thing. I don't know. Because it is sad, it has this negative vibe to it, and that just shouldn't. That shouldn't be the case. I really like this reframing. Yeah, it's about love still extending. Love. It's so sweet, so sweet. Yeah, it was a beautiful moment. Yeah, it really was. It really was. And hopefully, because this really helped. Like, I felt like I just released some emotions or something. So maybe this actually will help people to help get over some loss in their life.
Yeah, absolutely. The next place that we look at was, her going to check out Sword for the first and only time.
She walked in there like she owned the place. She was being polite in asking, but I don't think if they said no, I think she was definitely still going to go.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. She was breaking down them double doors no matter what. Yeah. So what we get out of this scene is that Hayward is a filthy liar because she walks away without stealing Vision's body.
So we've been lied to this entire show so far. We thought that she went back and stole his body, which we all would have understood that she did. But at this point, there's no reason for her to be the enemy at this point because she hasn't done anything technically wrong, except maybe mind control a few thousand people. But
except for taking over a whole town because of grief. But aside from that,
she's not stealing anything.
Yeah, she didn't steal the big weapon.
Yeah, she went there to bury him for some closure, I think.
Man, he was so callous, being like, we're not going to just put $4 billion worth of vibranium in the ground. So, man, come on, dude. Be better than that.
He has a point.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Yeah, it is. But at the same time, like, at this point, the nation of Wakanda, they're now sharing technology with the world, according to the end of Black Panther. Maybe they're not like, maybe they're selling vibranium at a super high clip, or maybe they're just like, nah, we're not going to give any out. But,
I mean, from Hayward's point of view as well, Vision is a robot, not a person. So, there's that. Yeah.
So take the vibranium off of him and then bury the rest. But he's got ulterior motives. He's not trying to bury Vision. He's not trying to disassemble him either. He is trying to put him back together.
Yeah.
Because he's evil.
Well, we don't know that he's evil. He probably means well. With all paths to hell, they're well-intentioned. And he probably means well and wants to have this weapon for his country or whatnot. And misguided could be, or just a different point of view. What are we looking at here? So he's not there. He's really dead. Like, she can't feel him. Dead. That's all I got to say.
Yep.
Dead.
Yeah. So then...
And we feel it, too. But here's the thing. Like, I know I dismissed Vision as being a robot, but I definitely felt some emotion here. I felt some loss here, too. Like, I think, oh, man, it was definitely sad. It was a sad moment. A lot of grief in this show in general and this episode.
Yeah, definitely.
So we learned she made the hex on her own.
Yeah. 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 She drives out to Westview because Vision bought her a nice plot of land.
That's so
to build
sweet.
A house on. How adorable was that? With this little circle and a little V. That was great.
It's just this episode just hit me in the feels on so many levels. We're looking at properties and stuff, and it's just thinking about a home, and it's just gut wrenching.
Yeah. Yeah, you think you're planning a life with somebody and then all of a sudden they're gone? That's awful. So yeah, she has that breakdown right there in the middle of that plot and builds the house out of nothing with her full-blown powers and creates a hex that turns everything into Dick Van Dyke Show.
In real time and creates Vision in real time
and creates
as well.
Vision, just...
Magic Vision.
What's a good verb? Just,
like molds the clay.
Explains why he can't...
He can't leave. He can't leave.
He can't leave the hex because he is a product of the hex.
But
it was a real, she creates him out of herself kind of a thing. Or maybe out of the mind stone of herself.
Just a projection.
She's very red. He comes out with that yellow. Yeah, so we now know how the hex started, and we now know how Vision exists within the hex, and that he is not just that reanimated body.
And we have the context to why it's a television show, because that was her escape when she was a child.
Yep.
Deep cuts, deep stuff.
Deep cuts. And then we get the big reveal at the end with the mid-credit scene. Hayward's been a liar, more of a liar. He said that we've taken him apart and put him back together so many times.
And we just needed a little bit of that
power source.
Just need a little bit of that hex magic. Turn them on.
Yep, a little bit of that Mind Stone.
And what's fun here is that we're getting the white Vision, which Vision was originally red in the comics, because there's something about the color, the white not working or something like that. Like certain colors in
really?
the comics, they could only print so many different colors, and red was one that they could print that didn't have any issue. There were issues with the way it looked, so they were like, "Oh, let's just change it red." Fun fact.
Interesting. Yeah. So my guess now, ultimately, is by the end of this, we're gonna get a showdown between White Vision and then Hex Vision with Wanda. Maybe even Agatha. I don't know how Agatha is going to fit in there, but I think we're going to get a big showdown. And then my prediction, spoiler alert, is that by the end of this, we get Hex Vision's consciousness back into White Vision body. And then that's how we get Vision back. Nailed it. Write it down.
He's
incredible. Everybody wants Vision back.
Likable. Yeah. Vision's character he is the most human.
He's on the side of life.
He's always made the decision that is best for humanity in all of the shows, Marvel show, films, everything. And he's likable. He's funny. It's great. Be good to have him back as an actual incarnation, if you will. So we still have fake Pietro running around, I presume. And we have...
Yep. And we still got Monica out and about, don't know where.
We have fake Vision. Wanda's kids must be fake as well. Mm-hmm. Fake Wanda's kids, fake Pietro, all of these fake things that have autonomy somehow.
I don't know about the kids, but so think about Agatha's last line there was like, "You've created something out of nothing." So that makes me think that like fake Vision is real enough.
Real enough.
The kids are real enough. Whether or not they can leave the hex, I think is to be determined, because if Vision can't leave the hex, but she's basically is saying like that is chaos magic, which you can obviously wield, and then that's what makes you the Scarlet Witch.
Scarlet, what is that? Like, why is this a title? Why is this a thing? I remember the Scarlet Letter. Do you remember that? So like Scarlet being the
book.
The Scarlet Letter meant you were an outcast if you had a Scarlet Letter, right? Wasn't that the point of the book? Wasn't she?
Yeah, it was like an adulterer or whatever.
Yeah, so maybe the Scarlet Witch is. I don't know if they're using this logic at all, but maybe it's like
that was her comic name, Scarlet. That was her comic book name. Yeah. Yeah,
of course. But I'm just wondering if they're using that type of.
If there's like a correlation there.
Like, she's the outcast.
I think it's because of the red. I think it's just red. The color
she's
red.
Just red. Outcast of a witch? It's that simple. Okay.
You might be right. I have no idea. I haven't read into it, but in my mind, it was always just, okay, Scarlet Red.
The only places ever read the word Scarlet are the Scarlet Letter and Scarlet in Clue. So that's all I got. That's my only reference to the word Scarlet in real life. So It was either Scarlet from Clue or the Scarlet Letter. So this is my brain attempting to make a connection to things that may or may not be related at all. This is how my brain works. Everything has to be connected.
Think about Scarlet from Clue. What could it all mean?
It was
1 + 2 + 1.
Hayward in the library with a knife with a vision.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh boy.
Flames on the side of my face.
I give up.
I don't know what this means. I don't know what this means. Obviously, like her red magic versus Agatha's purple, and then her mom's blue. There's different types of magic out there. I guess we'll figure out what those mean. So we'll get some answers
so we can tell who's doing what when the big final showdown scene comes in the next episode. We got to get the big bad that's probably going to take advantage of whatever the situation is, because it's not Agatha, it's not Hayward got his vision back, but there might be another character, because we know there's going to be a big reveal in the next episode. So there's going to be some kind of big Marvel godlike character coming in and doing something with all of this, using it to its advantage, his advantage, her advantage in some way. If everybody has to come together to fight this thing, then we need to be able to see Scarlet Witch is red, Agatha is purple, and somebody is blue. So when it's a big giant CGI mess on the screen, we can tell who's doing what.
I don't know. I just feel like with her identifying it as specifically chaos magic, that makes me think that there's differentiations within the magic there. But we'll see. I don't know. Yeah.
It could serve both purposes as well. It could be that and the obvious CGI cluster.
I mean, I'm sure, the different colors, I'm sure helps.
Yeah. So if you got this far in the podcast, thank you so much for listening. And if you think somebody else might want to have a listen, go ahead and just send them a DM, send them a text message, share the podcast with them.
Shoot them a quick thing.
Yeah. If you need a link,
if this is your first episode, go back and listen to the other ones. Did you watch The Mandalorian? You should. You got Disney Plus if you're listening to us talk about WandaVision.
Make sure you're following us, subscribed. How does that work? I don't know. We don't know.
Yeah.
Do all those
things. Hit that likes. Get you some comments. Let's have a discussion.
That would be great.
Online, in the comment section.
I'd love to hear from you.
Where only really nice conversations that are really nuanced happen in the comment section of the internet. That's where real honest stuff happens.
Genuine people, yes. share their thoughts and feelings.
Everybody just
in the most understanding,
really
and calm
honest
way. Yeah.
Just so understanding and calm and like really thought provoking, and that's where these wonderful discussions can be held, is in the comment section.
Oh, and on that note, we did mention too, make sure you're following us on Is This Ent Pod on the Twitter. The calm part of the internet, the Twitter. We got that special episode coming out on another podcast, so make sure you're following us over there. And what were you saying?
I finally started watching American Gods, but I was really tired, so I kind of nodded off. So I had to have the wife tell me what happened for the couple of minutes that I fell asleep. I was real tired.
It's pretty trippy that they keep changing the Mr. World character into other faces. That's it's a little confusing for me. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah, no, I definitely had to take a minute and be like, wait, did Crispin Glover not sign up for season 3? Because they had so many people leave after season 1 that I was like, oh, maybe they just like contract negotiation couldn't.
It must be like a weird vibe on the set or something, like just a weird vibe.
Yeah.
Maybe they're doing magic on the set. I don't know. Something weird.
Who knows? They're like, all right, before we do this scene, everybody's got to take some PCP. I don't know.
We don't know what we're talking.
It's a trippy. We don't do drugs, we don't know. Yeah. We're the cleanest cut people ever.
I've been taking some vitamins. Yeah.
I drink too much coffee. That's it.
Microdosing. Oh, wait, now what are we talking about?
You know what we can talk about? So I had an interesting thing this week. So you got on the Webull, right?
Yeah.
So on a whim, I did not. I've got it through Chase Bank. And they offered like free investment transactions and all this stuff. Yeah. So all of this game stuff happened last month.
Sure.
And so then, so the price went from 10, 12, 20 bucks, whatever, up to 400. And then all the like Robinhood stopped, put the kibosh on buying, and you could only sell, and the price dropped down to 40 and hung in like the 30-40 range. So then this article comes out in The Ringer, I think, and it's about a guy here in Louisville. Did you hear about this? Did you read this?
No. What happened?
So this guy he like works at a volleyball spot here in town, and basically like day trades, and has basically taught himself how to trade, and has had some ups and some downs. Is definitely like fully says like, I'm not an investment expert. I look for patterns, and I feel like I've got a like decent handle on some stuff. So he was explaining like the GameStop position and how he ended up getting in on it. And he has nothing to do with the Reddit Wall Street bets. Like he is completely absent of that. He just looked at the numbers, saw the amount of shorts that were happening, saw the amount of stock available. And he had sent Jim Cramer a couple of tweets that was like, hey, can you explain this? Because I feel like this is going to explode and be a big deal at some point. So I read that article. It was really interesting. Highly recommend. And so I was like, all right, let me just like look at what's going on with GameStop. On a whim, I'll see if I'll drop $50 because it was like 40 something.
Yeah.
Let me drop 40 something on one of these GameStops, just one share.
One piece, yeah.
And see what happens. Just to play the game, just to see what's going on. So I ended up buying this one GameStop share in the middle of the hearings going on with the House of Representatives and the CEO of Robinhood, this YouTuber guy, and like a handful of other people, like some hedge fund guys. So in the middle of these hearings, the price just jumps by $15.
Yeah.
So I was like, interesting. But then it immediately dropped back down and just hung out in the 30 to 40 range for a week and a half. And then last, I think Wednesday at 2:30, it just starts shooting to the moon, just going up and up. And I'm like, holy crap, this could be a big deal.
Did you get out?
So I got in. I did eventually, but I let it ride. So by the end of the day on Wednesday, it got up to 91. And I was like, cool, I've almost made all of my money. I've almost doubled my money.
Yeah.
When I bought the one, I was like, all right, if this hits 100, I'm out. If it drops below 30, I'm out. That's my rule.
Yeah.
But then in the after hours trading, it shoots up to 130, something like that. And I was like, okay, interesting. So let's see what happens in the morning. So in the morning, it levels off. It goes up as high as 178, somewhere around there. And I was like, I should get out now.
Yeah.
But I didn't.
I
didn't. I was like, let's see if we can get to 200. If it gets to 200, then I'm out. And then throughout the day, it just slowly trickles down.
You got to know this. You got to know better. This is not real. Yeah.
Right. No, absolutely. Absolutely. This is not real. And like, it's quit when you're ahead, but how far ahead is ahead? So in my mind, I was like, all right, 115 is going to be my new floor. And it dropped down to 120, kind of hung out there for a minute, got down to 115, and I pulled the trigger, and I was like, all right, I'm done. I've been paying way too much attention to this over the last 24 hours. So
$50,
this is not good for my mental health. For ultimately was like $67 in profit, plus then take out the taxes.
Yep.
We're talking $40.
Yeah, after taxes, I don't know how anybody can day trade, by the way. The taxes on short-term trading is...
So I was like, that was a lot of fun to dream about the stock hitting like $1,000 or something.
See, what I feel like right now, we actually have the biggest opportunity to do what the hedge funds do and short the crap out of this, because it's not going to go back up. There's no way. It's just...
So what's interesting is in reading why this guy from Louisville was so in on it, there was like a proxy battle or something, and this guy who was in charge of Chewy, the dog food treats, like delivery people. This guy has just taken over, and they like ousted the CFO, and he's like, this guy's running the show now. So the idea is that it's so overshorted that the only way for the price not to go up would be for the company to go bankrupt. But because they're making moves with this new guy, they just won't. They're like, they'll be closer in that like online delivery kind of space.
I mean, if they converted their entire model to just the Netflix of video games, but I think there's another competitor that does that. Yeah. But if they converted their models to that, I mean, for sure, they could be in business.
And so I think this guy from Louisville, this volleyball guy, is basically banking on that. And this company's going to live on, and they're going to transition, and they'll figure it out, and they're not just going to completely full. And if he can make that transition, then the stock price is going to go up because of all of these shorts. We'll see, man.
Yeah.
At this point, I will watch from afar.
Yeah. It's opportunities like this that can make it more obvious to us that more companies, I think, probably go out of business than do well. You know what I mean? There's probably a lot of opportunity right now during a pandemic where we can see companies crashing, and not like they're just not going to make it, like gyms and things. Now would probably be a good, like, I'm not an expert at all, but it just seems like it'd be a good time to short all these companies that like gym, like things that just can't.
Yeah. Planet Fitness or something. Yeah. Places that have like 1 million locations.
Yeah, they're just not going to make it, and it's probably a terrible outlook to have, because I'd love to be able to invest in a company that I know is going to do well. Yeah. Yeah.
Betting on somebody to lose just feels wrong.
It does feel wrong, but that's how these guys make money, man. That's how they do. That's why this was a news story. Yeah. Well, that was fun. That was a side tangent.
Oh, absolutely. So, hey, get Weeble.
Yeah.
Buy yourself a games.
Yeah, I'll put the link in the description for our referral account for Webull if you guys want to get started buying stock. It's really easy to do over there, and they give you a couple of free stocks just for signing up. Yeah, we'll stick that in there.
Get you an AMC. It's only $8.50.
Yeah. I don't know how that's gonna go, man. I don't know if they open it up.
I don't know either.
If they that's a weird one for me because like I feel like it's already low, but I feel like it's gonna go out of business or people are just gonna be itching so bad to go back. But
I think the itch is real, and definitely in that amusement park space. I think this summer and then hopefully next summer, all of the amusement parks are gonna get slammed. I think if by the end of 2021, I think the holiday season for the indoor like trampoline parks is going to be nuts, because by that point like you'll be max vaccinations and all that stuff. So yeah, I could see that. What the wild card is these direct to home movies, being able to watch I'm setting aside time for the Godzilla versus Kong movie and it just being available in my home the day it comes out. Could watch that Tom and Jerry movie, but that doesn't do much for me. So these direct to home movies, I like that as a thing, but I'm also not the typical, I'm not the movie going demographic that they're going for. I'm not 18 to 30.
Yeah. We're the get off our lawn demographic at this point.
That's right. Get off my lawn, send the movies directly to my house. If there's a Star Wars that came out tomorrow, I would want to watch it in my home and not at a movie theater.
I'm right there with you, man. I'm really enjoying watching stuff at home. It's really been a lot of fun. Yeah. So just to wrap all of this nonsense up, is there a button we can put on this?
I feel like this WandaVision episode was so much about like grief and trauma and like figuring out like where Wanda is and how she arrived at the place that she's currently in. And this show has been so much about what's going on in Wanda's head. So it was nice to have an episode that literally goes back into what her experiences were like. So I think that sets us up. That sets us up for the last episode to just be
the next
kind of balls to the wall.
Yeah.
Like they can just go crazy. This was a very cerebral episode. The next one can be big dumb fun and explosions and robots
big dumb
facing
fun
robots.
With still a little bit of deeper underlying undertones.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
Big
There's
dumb
going to be, it wouldn't be this show, it wouldn't be these characters without some deep mind-bendy type stuff.
Yeah.
But this was an episode that like really like fills in so many of those gaps so that we can have that last episode just bring it all home.
Yeah. So be same time next week, same place. Make sure you're subscribed.
Same batch.
And if you know somebody who wants to listen, go ahead and share it with them. And all the stuff we talked about will be in the show notes. And until next time,
bye. Bye. Thanks for listening.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye. Bye.